Have either A, lost patience, or B, retired. Same goes for Jenson Button.
Yeah, well, I mean, lukewarm assessments of how the car is after his first day in it. We'll see what he says today. Yeah, it's very interesting. It always is interesting. He's such a political animal, and he will have, I suppose, he'll be thinking about other options, surely.
Okay, well, let's leave it on the ultra-soft tyre there. Looks like Kimi Raikkonen's got the best out of that tyre. It wasn't really designed. Won't ever run round here, an ultra-soft in Barcelona, because first time we'll see it will be in Monaco, second time in Canada. Good, Craig, thank you very much. Join us after the break when we'll be rounding up everyone's day here at day 3 of the second test in Barcelona. Hello again, welcome back to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. That's what it's called now, it's not just the Circuit de Catalunya. And who, I wonder, will be standing atop that podium come late April, early May? It's probably going to be Mercedes, let's face it. But you never know. So, that's what we're doing. We're going to be doing Development Corner tomorrow, so we're going to be somewhat sort of media centre bound. So I thought we'd come down into the pit lane for the final 10 minutes of this third day of practice, and we might as well do Toro Rosso, because Simon, you might be able to sneak a little look at some of the car. It's being weighed and measured by the FIA. Nothing sinister in that, just something Toro Rosso want to do to make sure that at the end of a race, which it is effectively now, because Max Verstappen has just finished his race simulation, everything, all the bodywork is still in the places it should be. So you can see this chap with his back to us, Chevy Pujolar, the chief engineer, is just checking on something on the left rear with his engineers and the guy from the FIA. So they did indeed do 160 odd laps, well, 159 to be precise, and P4 for Max Verstappen when he did his simulation, his qualifying simulation earlier in the day. But they just want to make very clear to Toro Rosso and James Key that they still haven't done any development on this car as yet. Still just early days in their change to the 2015 Ferrari engine. Just remember about this team, it's got a year-old engine, you know, so anything they do, it's pretty good, isn't it? So they're still learning all the Ferrari software and the programs that go with that from the change to Renault last year. So that's what's taking the time. And with the budget that they've got, I think they produced a lovely car. You can see the curve of the side pod there, can't you, Simon, from this angle, that we've all been drooling over, us idiots down here in the pit lane. But absolutely a work of art. We can talk about Red Bull as well. They've been doing a race simulation. As you can see, all the boys here are ready to do some pit stops with Danny Kvyat. They didn't do a qualifying simulation early on. That's why Kvyat is only P9 in the quickest times. He did break down at the end of the pit lane early on today, actually. Don't quite know why that is. But as I say, they did it's the last race simulation for Kvyat before he goes to Melbourne. We've got the Ferrari coming down the pit lane. Again, on the Ultra Soft. So that wouldn't be a simulation at the moment here, because we're not expecting the Ultra Soft to be an option of a tyre when we come to the circuit. We're expecting it to be hard, medium and soft of the 3 options of the tyres that they can choose. The teams can choose whatever they want to make up 13 sets out of those 3 compounds. And everyone has been using the medium. The medium's been a lovely tyre around here, as well as the soft. But you can see there is a set of hard tyres there in the blankets of Red Bull. So there you go, they are doing effectively a Spanish Grand Prix race simulation. But I think I already said that on those tyres. Ricciardo tomorrow, so this is Kvyat's last day. Christian Horner and Adrian Newey were here earlier, but they have now left. They left a little bit earlier to go about their respective business. Now, this is an interesting thing. What do you do if you're Mercedes, right, and you've got everything else sorted? The car's reliable, ultra reliable, the car's quick, very quick as well. What do you do? I don't know, how about, Simon, looking at the pit wall and seeing if you can think about some different colours in which to put on your pit board to make it a bit more viewable. If you just, it's Williams, so if you just step back, yeah, that's okay. Ah, that's the Ultra Soft on Felipe Massa. And looks like we're going to get a Mercedes pit stop as well. So why don't I bring you over here? Perfect. So look at that. What do you think is more viewable? The pink of the L3 or the orange or the green? But that's what Lewis Hamilton has been trying out, it seems, as well as everything else that he's been testing. So the job list does now extend for your Mercedes to what kind of funky fluoro colours you can actually get on your pit board. But I'll tell you what Mercedes have done. It was Rosberg P5 in the morning and Lewis Hamilton P10 in the afternoon. You might be wondering whether this driver switch from morning to afternoon is a bit of a pain for these hard-working mechanics. I can tell you it's not that bad. Apparently it's about 40 minutes, take out the seat, change the pedals, but they don't change much else, you know, because the car's they're changing the setup all the time. And the Mercedes was in the garage quite a lot today, but that's just because they were going through different setups and things that did take a bit of time. So they didn't do quite as many laps as they have done recently. Quite a bit of setup work, which takes time to change on the car. You might as well follow the Ferrari, Kimi Raikkonen back in while we wait for Lewis Hamilton. I'll just tell you about, we've done Toro Rosso, I'll tell you about Williams while we're here. Here we go, he's back in. What was he doing? He was the medium tyre. So we're not expecting, anybody who's wondering, Mercedes to run the ultra soft at all here. So we're not going to get a true read on ultra soft tyres. They might do just to see how it lasts. It has been lasting, by the way, very well. Kimi Raikkonen found that actually there was more than one lap round here with the ultra soft tyre. So there was plenty of juice in it early on. In fact, it is a stoppage. So at 5 minutes to the end of the session, we do have a stoppage. Someone obviously doing a, go on, get in there, Si. Have a quick look. Yeah, lovely. Look at those side pod entries. Look at all the nice stuff on there. Look at the front wing with the teeny mountings. Absolutely beautiful. It's all right. They don't mind too much. Everyone's seen, all the spy photographs have been well and truly taken by this point in time. So all the teams know exactly what everybody's got on each of the cars. So the screens are as much as keeping the cool Barcelona wind out of the garage rather than anything else. Looks like Red Bull doing a little heat soak test in the pit box there, just to see how long the car can sit there after it's been out and hot without cooking itself and all of its contents. I was telling you about Williams. Massa's P2, I think, at the moment, at the end of the day, and he did that on the soft tyre. He tried to do a quali lap, so he might have done a little bit further. He might have gone again a little bit faster than that, but he was held up by Kvyat. But I'm just wondering, because we saw him on the ultra soft, whether Massa has indeed improved his time. No, he hasn't. He's still P2. But okay, but yeah, so they didn't really get a true read on exactly how quick they are in their quali simulation, did Williams, because Massa was held up by Kvyat on his quickest run. But they've done a race simulation in the afternoon. It looks like, look, you see even the little pit board light thingy gets its own bespoke cover, a sort of leather cover on there. So it looks like Williams are well and truly packing that up for the day, and they're de-rigging everything in the pit box as well. Force India next, P3 for Hulkenberg. And this is a fast car. I'll tell you what we think the order is at the end of this section. But that is really, you know, another good day for them. His last day in the car, Hulkenberg's last day in the car, is a P3, 23.2 race simulation. The quickest time was on the ultra soft. But the interesting thing is that quickest time was within half a second of Ferrari's ultra soft time. So what do we think? Were, at the end of last season, Force India half a second per lap behind the Ferrari? I think they probably were, you know. So another case of everyone just moving up in tandem with everybody else. But that car's not doing anything else for the rest of the session, is it? What on earth is all this stuff? Okay, I'll just manage to poke my way through here. Ferrari, we've already seen the car on track plenty today and looked really good. Kimi Raikkonen actually did the fastest time that we saw earlier on that purple ultra soft as he passed us, which was a good time. That was fastest of all, and on a 22.7. And we're getting clues, aren't we, ladies and gents, about the running, because that Raikkonen lap was faster than Sebastian Vettel's ultra soft lap by 0.045. What can we determine from that? Well, that Kimi Raikkonen is happy with this Ferrari. Yay, because it's got the push rod front suspension, it's got something he can lean on going in, and he's happy. Now, we talked about the halo effect, the halo, not the halo effect, I'm going to call it that a lot, aren't I? The halo head protection, a little, that he ran a little earlier. As I said, it is just a dummy. It is just a mock-up made in carbon fiber, not steel. And I know many of you don't like it, but I guess you've got to say, if it saves even, you know, a serious injury, never mind a life, then it's worth having. I don't know, Martin Brundle thinks that he doesn't object to it per se, although he thinks it should be an open formula. It's just that there are so many of these changes coming at once, there doesn't seem to be some sort of joined up plan. But anyway, you know, we'll see. That's a shame. It's all gone quite quickly, hasn't it, Simon, with this red flag. Looks like we're not going to have enough time when the track goes green for anybody to go out and do a lap. So we'll talk about Sauber. You can probably see some mechanics' heads above the parapet there. P6 on a 24.7. So they're fairly reliable with a new car, but where's the pace? That's the question I've got. They did a qualifying practice in the morning for that 24.7. And they were practicing as much for the new engineers, pretty much a new engineer lineup on the pit wall up here this year. They all needed to learn and practice how they get on together. But I'm just wondering, they've also done some pit stop practice with a race simulation in the afternoon for Felipe Nasr. And at least the wheels stayed on today, which is more than they did yesterday when I think it was the right rear fell off Marcus Ericsson's car. They didn't have the problems of yesterday, but it was all cushy today. The always telltale sign is where the recovery vehicle with what driver. Oh no, it's Grosjean again. Gros. Oh dear, Haas have had an absolutely horrible day, haven't they? We'll tell you about that in just a second. We'll update you about Renault's day. P11, 27.1, not great. Gearbox problem earlier on. They got a new nose. They were trying out some Flovis on the side pods as well, just to see how the airflow's doing. Well, there they didn't do a qualifying simulation, but they did quite a few laps towards the end of the day. Jolyon Palmer was in the car. And we're going to be talking to Bob Bell, the new technical director. Well, I think he's the new sort of he's chief technical officer, isn't he? Dave Ryan bossing everything at Manor Mercedes, and they've had another productive day with Pascal Wehrlein. P8. They had a little issue with the rear brake duct earlier on. It took a bit of time to fix it. They don't have too many spares. You can sneak a quick look the other side here of Simon, just the other side of this screen of the red, white and blue, nicely liveried car. But interesting thing about Manor is that they're clearly ahead of Haas at the moment, and they're less than 0.3 of a second per lap slower than Alonso in the McLaren on the same tyre. Ooh, everyone. So that was the fastest lap so far this winter from Manor Mercedes. Wehrlein's P8 today on the super soft tyre, which leads us very nicely on to McLaren Honda. And Fernando Alonso again, P7, just one place ahead of Wehrlein in the Manor. He did a race simulation, well, tried to, first of their winter, but couldn't manage it. And instead had to come back into the garage while they, quote, changed some settings. And then they did longer runs instead in the afternoon. They got a new rear wing, new DRS as well. Not sure if that bodes well or not. I don't know what you can tell from the top of men's heads as to how the mood is in McLaren. But, well, it's not great, but it's not terrible. I think we can leave it at that. It's not very insightful, is it? And finally, Haas F1. 3 stoppages, that makes it, with this last one. Romain Grosjean had 2 spins, which looked very much like brake failure because he ran out of brakes, didn't have brakes at the end of turn 1, and then at the end of turn 4 as well, just along from where we were watching a little bit earlier. And, well, after a great first test, it hasn't exactly been peaches and apple cream, or apple sauce, or apple pies, or whatever they say in America. It's been a horrible test, actually, for Haas F1. It's a bit awkward saying this in front of the mechanics. Sorry, lads and girls. 2 spins, 3 spins today, 2 stoppages, and only P12. Maybe a problem with the brake-by-wire, who knows. And it seems that Manor is faster at the moment. So the order is, everybody waiting, as Esteban Gutierrez just waits here. I don't think we're going to have a restart, are we? I don't think so. So the order seems to be Mercedes at the front, followed by Ferrari, then Williams and Force India very closely for 3rd and 4th, then Red Bull, also very close, followed by Toro Rosso, followed by McLaren, followed by Renault, followed by Sauber, then Manor, and then at the moment it's sort of Manor, Haas F1 at the back. We're not quite sure. That might change for Australia. Right, that is it. We've done our time. I've got to get Simon back to Craig, who's going to do some interviews. Join us tomorrow for Development Corner. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Enjoy Sky Sports F1 Live on all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.